afternoon. Today I will be going over the professional life of Alan D. Poling. So Alan Poling began his work in the field of ABA actually through psychology. So he received his PhD from the University of Minnesota, then continuing on as a research associate, which he then became a professor. So in 1977 is when he received his PhD from the University of Minnesota. 1978 is when he spent, 1977, sorry, to 1978 is when he spent a year as a research associate at the University of South Carolina. He then moved on to Western Michigan University, where he was promoted in 1988 to professor. Over this time span, he began to do research and began to write books and different journals, with which his name has become very pronounced in the field of ABA today. In 2009, he joined an organization called APOPO, which is a non-governmental organization that uses giant African pouch rats to advance behavior science. Through this, they've taught them to detect landmines, eventually leading to different research such as that of tuberculosis. Alan Poling currently still works at WMU, as well as authoring and publishing different books and journals. So some of his more popular works, journal works, are the one I mentioned earlier, using trained pouch rats to detect landmines, through this which he used operant conditioning, progressive ratio schedules and applied behavioral analysis, the matching law, and then a few that he wasn't the primary author on, but he had begun to, for a certain research paper, he began to read other researchers' works, and then he would write an intro and publish those works as a credited source. So some of his work he has with shaping the field of ABA through his role as an educator at WMU. He's also been an editor on nearly 30 different journals. Some of the journals that he's written or edited, I will now explain. One of his most famous and, to me, the most fascinating is that of which he did on the African pouch rats. So the African pouch rats, he trained through the use of operant conditioning, trained to detect landmines. So African pouch rats, they're light enough that they don't set off the landmines. They have an excellent sense of smell, as well as rats through many years of research, through many years of research, are actually very intelligent creatures. So through this, he trained them to detect landmines and had discovered that they were easily able to do it, and since then have saved numerous lives by sniffing out landmines in Africa. Sorry. That is just one of my personal favorite works of field that he did. He's done numerous research articles, but to me, that is kind of what set him apart in the field of ABA and allowed him to become the editor that he is now to this day. Not necessarily editor, sorry. He has become a contributor to the field of ABA. Personally, if I were to be able to interview Dr. Poling, I would have a couple questions. Mine being on, again, the rat research, just because to me it's always been kind of fascinating how rats have not just been used in research aspects, but also how society has always deemed them as rodents that need to be exterminated, but they're actually very intelligent creatures. So firstly, I'm curious to know what it was that involved him in the research with African pouch rats, if it had anything to do with previous work done by Skinner with his rat research, or if someone approached him, or if the thought came to him. And then I know that they are currently using this to detect tuberculosis, but if there are other ways that he has progressed this research to see how these rats could be used in today's society in different areas of the world. He also has mentioned in another article on motivating operation how he kind of disagrees, not necessarily disagrees, but he believes that Skinner has his views on motivating operation has not proven adequate enough to explain important aspects of human behavior. And I am curious to know as if Skinner had not come up with this, would we be where we are now? Do you think that that has affected his research at all? And just as one of his graduate level students, or sorry, doctoral students, I'm curious to know just kind of what some of his views are in the field of ABA. I feel like as a professional, he has a lot to offer. So I'm honestly, I would just love to have a sit down with him and ask him many different questions. But these are just a couple of them. I really believe that he has been able to affect the field of ABA in many different ways. One of which being the research journal, which was only created not too long ago, the Journal of Experimental Analysis of Behavior, because the field of ABA isn't really even that old. And so he has begun to introduce and read and observe different research aspects through this journal. And is very, he picks and chooses which ones go in it, which ones he thinks affects the field most. So I feel like he has a lot of observations in the field of ABA and would have a lot to offer to newer students in the field. And so I have a lot of questions as to what he would recommend to someone as a up and coming, not even doctoral student, but just a master student as I am myself. So many different questions, but I would love to know. Anyways, here is just a brief introduction into Alan D. Poling. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you.